welcome back to Fusion24. It's fantastic to see so many of you still in the room. Don't forget you can catch up on any talks that you have missed or rewatch your favourites by going on to our YouTube channel, where we'll be making all the talks and all the slides available within the next couple of weeks. Keep an eye on your email and we will give you full instructions on how to do that. It's been quite a day where we've focused on the collective action of this burgeoning Fusion community. And now we're going to end the day with taking a look at what we can do as individuals to move that dial in a meaningful way. And I'd like to welcome back to our stage Professor of Earth System Sciences at University College London. It's Professor Mark Maslin.
And Valerie, please do not worry. I've had BBC presenters that do exactly the same thing. Perhaps I should just call myself a climatologist in future. Makes life much easier. So I apologize. I am the only thing stopping you from going to the drinks reception. But I thought what I'd do is bring it back to now. So you've been steeped in the future. You are looking at how we're going to actually power the world, how save the world in, say, 20 years' time. It is 20 years' time, okay? I'm counting on all of you. So what I thought I'd do is step back, because, again, one of the reasons for this is because we need to move from 19th century energy to 21st century energy because of the greenhouse effect. So it was Eunice Foote 150 years ago in America that actually demonstrated the greenhouse effect. And what she did was very simply put out 2 test tubes into her garden, one filled with CO2, one with air, both with thermometers in, and the one with CO2 warmed up quicker, got to a higher temperature, and took longer to cool down. The greenhouse effect was discovered, and she wrote it up with a male colleague in a journal, and then the following year, he presented it. Things have moved on, okay? You'll be pleased to know. 5 years later, John Tyndall, not to be outdone, actually built this equipment, which is still in the Royal Institution, where he actually measured the greenhouse effect of different gases. So what is the greenhouse effect? Because, again, you'll hear all of this misinformation that's still coming out, like Nigel Farage. So therefore, I thought I'd help in an election year, help. So imagine you're not here. Okay, imagine. You're sitting on a tropical beach. Exactly. I feel, whoever that is, I feel for you. And I'm going to make it even worse. With your favorite cocktail. Mine's a mojito. Okay, and you feel hot. That's a bit odd. And that's because the short-wave radiation from the sun, which is mainly light, is hitting your skin and converting to heat. Exactly the same thing happens to the Earth. The first thing, of course, is about a third of it gets reflected straight back into space, but that 2/3 that gets through actually warms up the planet, and that heat is released into the atmosphere. And then the magic of the greenhouse gases come in, because those gases hold onto that energy for a little while, vibrate, warm the atmosphere, and keep us nice and warm. You strip them out of the atmosphere, and the temperature of the Earth drops by 35 degrees. Okay, so let's be nice. So that's an English summer of -15, and an English winter of about -35. So greenhouse gases, good. But, of course, we've been pumping greenhouse gases in the atmosphere since the beginning of the Industrial Revolution. So CO2 has increased by 50%, methane by 150%, and there's the Keeling curve going up every single year. We are at the highest level for over 3 million years. Okay, so I did this last year, so I'm going to do this again, because I love audience participation. Put your hands up if you like skiing. Oh my word, the Fusion community is really dynamic. Put your hand up if you like snowboarding. Yeah, no, it does my knees in as well. So my only thing is, do it now, as much as you can, okay? You know those bonuses you're getting from your company? Spend it on skiing, okay? Because as you can see, since the 1960s, the amount of snow we're getting is reducing. And you've seen this. You've booked your ski holiday, and suddenly you go there and there's no snow. summer sea ice extent. The BBC always send up a reporter to go, look, it's melting. Yes, it is. And the really geeky one, I'm sorry, I'm a real geek, is the average heat content of the upper ocean. Okay? Now, the great thing is, because you're all technical people, you now know that, again, 70% of the world's surface is actually covered by oceans. 1 kilometer of water, think how much heat that's holding. And this is the increase, and that's the thing that scares me. Sea level change was 3 millimeters per year. It's now up to 9 millimeters a year. And this is where we're at to with temperatures. Last year, we hit 1.48 degrees warmer than the pre-industrial times. Now, we, of course, us, we love graphs, but not everybody likes graphs. So that's why I love underneath, I've used Ed Hawking's climate stripes, which are a beautiful representation of those temperatures. So there you are. That's English temperatures, sort of like since the 1880s. And as you can see, it goes from blue to red. And by the way, if you're feeling like this, we have to do something like this for Fusion. So look, guess what? Ties. Your CEOs can clearly afford a Tesla, so they should be able to wrap it. Personally, I'd go from blue to red, but that's just me. That's my taste. I, as an academic, can afford the T-shirt. And I can afford the leggings, but I'm not going to. I just don't have the legs. And this is the stuff that scares me. Okay? This is the ocean temperatures. This is 2023. Now, 2023 was part of an El Nino year, so it added a little bit extra. But El Nino is fading and disappearing. But those temperatures in 2024 are not coming down. The ocean is hot. And again, some of you who were in London in 2022, we had a 40-degree heat wave. Okay, now this is ridiculous, okay? This is, you go on holiday to get these sort of temperatures. This was outrageous for climatologists because we were making up pictures to illustrate 2050 heat waves of 40 degrees happened 2 years ago. And put it into context, July, the peak temperature in July in the UK is 24 degrees. This is why we go on holiday. That's the peak temperature, not the average temperature, the peak. So this heat wave was 16 degrees warmer than we should have had in London, and over 2,000 people died because of that heat wave. If we have a look at heat waves across the world, we're now looking at 3.7 billion more person days that are experiencing heat waves than in 1990. And we've already seen in the news, America, Cyprus, it's starting all over again. So, effects of climate change, more extreme storms, floods, droughts, heat waves, and wildfires. And yes, you will be really pleased to get to the drinks after my talk. May lead to water and food insecurity, may lead to migration and conflict. The reason the may is there is because we produce enough food for 10 billion people. There's only 8 billion. And we also know that conflict around the world is not because of the environment, it's because of many other human and societal and egotistical reasons. Okay, the future. We use supercomputers, just like you're using, to actually build the fusion reactor of the future. And in this, we have layers in the ocean, into the atmosphere, into the clouds, into the vegetation, and we put it all together. And then we have to, how should I put it, gently understand the future, because the science is great. We just have no idea what you lot are going to do. And by that, I mean the 8 billion people on the planet. So these are the projections. If we had no climate policies, 4 to 5 degrees, but we can move those away. Current policies, 3 to 3.5. If the ones that agreed at Glasgow are stuck to and actually embedded, 2.4 to 2.8. And then there's the two political ones, 2 degrees and 1.5. The UN agreement, incredible. And this is one of the weird things I have to actually say. The French were magnificent. I hate that. As an Englishman, it really hurts, okay? It really does hurt. Okay, but they were so Machiavellian, they got 196 countries to agree, okay? And so therefore, they basically net zero by 2021, by 2050. But it means that we have to transform energy generation, industry, infrastructure, and personal behaviors. Everything. And therefore, this is why fusion is so important. Can we do it? Well, this is the scenario. This is a red line going up. We still haven't turned the curve. That's net zero, where we're going to get to keep 1.5 alive. And guess what? We forget to tell you we then have to suck CO2 out of the atmosphere for the rest of the century, and fusion energy will be really useful to do it. Okay, you didn't hear that. Energy. We need to double energy by the end of the century. Okay, so we need lots and lots of energy to actually lift out people out of poverty. We need all those win-win solutions. We have exponential growth in wind, solar, battery, EV. This is the new world. Electricity is it. We know that going by electric, we save 40% of the energy that we actually consume today. Heat pumps, 3 to 5 times more efficient. Energy loss from just an electric car is only 15 to 20% compared with your petrol engine, which is 64 to 75. That just illustrates how good, 21st century technology is compared with 20th century technology. So how do we do this? Well, we need governments, corporations, and individuals to actually, work together. And weirdly enough, if we go net zero, and I'm basically going to say this very loudly to certain politicians, we could save a huge amount of money. $46 trillion if we do it right. So, government, wonderful list. Support renewable energy. Support fusion. Tax fossil fuels. Support electric cars. Develop fusion-driven circular economy. I did slip that in there. Promote low emissions farming and diet, rewild, reforest. And this, fusion, okay? So we take, make, use, dispose, and pollute. That's the system now. But when you have huge amounts of energy at your disposal, you can basically make, which you regulate product design, you can regulate use, and you can use that energy to recycle. Here we have 60% of everything is now actually lost because we just put it into incineration or we dump it in the ground. Oh, look, all that energy, we can literally recycle anything we want with unlimited energy. Global green economy is also already worth $10 trillion. You just don't see it. That's $1 in $10 is already in this green economy. So therefore, this is where all the employment is, 10 million people in America. Companies, please, meaningful greenhouse gas targets. Switch to 100% renewable targets. Engage employees. Offset emissions. Lobby government. Empower entrepreneurs. Basically, you lot. Okay? And again, you've seen this in the morning. Fusion is great because it reduces energy poverty, reduces emissions, but it also increases GDP. Perfect. And this is the crux of the matter, because fusion will come. But we sort of have to save the planet for fusion to then move us into the second half of this century. So what can you do about it? Talk about climate change, talk about fusion, talk about a positive future. Okay, it's really important. For you lot, switch to a more plant-based diet. You'll thank me in the long run. You'll basically live a lot longer and actually see the fusion future. Switch to a renewable energy supply, reduce, reuse, recycle, reduce your consumption. Because guess what? We found out during COVID, the thing that makes us happy is not the number of trainers, the number of cars, number of houses, well, maybe. What made you happy was being able to hug your relatives, being able to hug your friends, and going out to dinner and being social. Okay? Remember that. Consume with trusted brands, walk, cycle as much as possible, use electric and hybrid vehicles, Fly less if you can. Oh, and look, see? I've wrapped my car. Divest from fossil fuel companies, because you should be investing in fusion. Okay, isn't that obvious? And then vote, protest, and support the fusion vision. And I'm going to leave this. The fusion is the future. We know this. But we need to solve the climate and environmental crisis now so we can enjoy a future with unlimited clean energy. Thank you very much. Enjoy your drinks.